Welcome to Lead Like a Girl, where we are empowering everyday women through our stories. I am your host, Jessica Smith, and I began this journey by sharing my life story. Now, I've joined forces with my longtime friends, Jamie and Coralyn, to keep this party going. We met many years ago as young sales girls in our 20s, driven and quickly rising to the top of our industry. As the years went on, life happened, and we all found ourselves in new companies and completely different industries, still striving for success in it all. Career, family, faith, fun. Now, it wasn't easy, but we never stopped moving. Get ready for our real conversations, inspiring stories, and our big life lessons as we share it all. The good, the bad, and the funny. Welcome to Lead Like a Girl.
Welcome back to another episode of Lead Like a Girl, where we are empowering everyday women through our stories, all the good, the bad, and the funny. I'm your host, Coralyn. I have Jessica here, and Jamie cannot stop laughing.
Look, it's been a
That's
struggle.
what we do.
It's been a struggle
okay.
for this afternoon. I'm here, though.
So funny. Okay, so we're gonna hop right into it, guys. So I've been thinking about this lately. We've been talking about like changing things, and there's a lot of people that I talk to that are like, why can't my life be easier? Why do I have to go through this hard thing? Like trying to think of why are things, Jessica, you're agreeing with me, that people want to have the easy life. And I don't think that that's the case. I don't think that we were designed to have an easy life. Everything meaningful that I feel like that I've had in my life has come through a little bit of struggle. Like maybe not everything, but a lot of the most significant things have been through something hard to go through, hard conversations, decisions, a hard season of life. And I think as women, especially moms, wives, leaders, we end up caring a lot, but we're also avoiding certain hard things that would actually move our lives forward faster. Does that track? Does that resonate?
No, I was thinking, I think maybe last episode or maybe two ago when Jessica was talking about her brothers and stuff, like just, do I let them off the hook? You know, do I help them out or do I let them go through the hard stuff? And what we learned from going through the hard stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So as you two know, all three of us have been through some things that are like hard. I feel like you learn so much from going through hard things, but my conundrum is like, I'm trying to like protect my kids, right, from going through the same hard thing. And is that good
and I don't want
or not
an easy
good?
life.
Is that good or not good? I mean, I don't know.
Well, I don't want an easy life. I just want a little easier, a little less hard. I just feel like from day one, it's just like always something really hard. And so I'm hoping and praying that at some point in this life cycle that it's going to get just easier. It's going to let up a little bit and maybe things won't be perfect. Of course, they're never going to be perfect, but I'm hoping, I'm asking God for at least 10 years. Can I get 10 years just chilling?
How about 2? Can I get 2 years?
Well, so maybe you guys maybe will resonate with you. So what we're going to talk about today is why doing hard things might be an important skill to gain, why doing hard things might actually be a blessing. And so where this came from is I was scrolling, not through TikTok this time, but through LinkedIn. So a little bit more educational piece. And I came across this posting. Do you guys eat pistachios? Random question, but do you eat
pistachios?
Oh my gosh, I love them. Did I not know that?
You didn't know that about me?
Oh my gosh. Okay, yes.
Okay, so do you get them shelled or do you get them with the shells on?
Totally with the shells on.
Shells on.
You take the fun away if you
shells on. Okay,
don't want to have them without the shell. I mean, that's dumb.
So
too easy.
why do pistachios come in shells when they could just sell you the bag of nuts? And I've had a bag of pistachios, and it feels weird eating them if you
I'm
don't
sorry,
have it.
Coralyn, you have to stop talking because you just said big.
Are we bringing in my Minnesota accent again?
I don't know, but you're going to make Jamie snort.
I almost snorted because you were like, a bag of pistachios. Sorry, I will remove myself from the conversation.
So it's interesting because I think that people thought that, or I think like it's a cost thing. Like it costs more to take the pistachios out of the shell. It's weight, so it adds more weight by volume. So you're paying for less. So I thought it was like a marketing thing. But so the shells actually keep them more fresh longer. So and then also when shells open, the pistachios open up themselves, it's a sign that they're ready and they're ripe, that so it's a quality factor. But the thing about it is like getting the pistachios in the shell, it's harder and it causes friction for the people that eat them. So doing this hard thing makes the fruit of the shell better is the point. And she also goes in to explain and talks about Betty Crocker. So Jamie, she gives this example that apparently when they were first putting out the cake mix in the box, it was going to be a box of cake mix where you just add water. And it just flopped because moms who were buying this cake mix felt like they were kind of like baking posers. It was just too easy. So Betty Crocker's brand gurus decided that what we're going to do is we're going to have people come in with their own eggs. They're going to get rid of like the egg substitute, and you have to add oil, water, and an egg. And that match of doing it a little harder, adding more steps to it, gave them some agency and gave them control. And so then the sales of these box cake mixes went through the roof. So the analogy of both of them is that if you do a little bit hard, so we're not praying for the hardest life, but doing a little bit of hard and not the easiest road is actually a good thing.
I love it.
Argue with me.
Yes. I'm with you.
Is that tracking?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Here's the point one I want to make is that hard things build who you actually are, not just what you accomplish. So we love results, but our character is built in the process. So, here's the deal. Anyone can show up when it's easy. Your identity is shaped when it's not so easy.
Yeah. No, I agree. When I think about, and when I think about my life and all of the different struggles, I do feel, and I was just talking to someone about this before, when I think about my childhood, and pretty much it ended pretty early. Like you're a mom at 15, right? But I am grateful for that, because if that wasn't the case, I wouldn't have started my career at 19. I wouldn't have bought my first home at 23. I wouldn't have, like, all of those things that I think allowed me to get to the point where I'm at now at my age, because I did all of those things early, which some people could say was unfortunate and it was difficult. But I do find that it's in many ways, it was a blessing to be able to go through all of those things, and not just go through them, but go through them at an early age.
Mm-hmm. What is something hard that you feel like you did that actually changed who you are? I mean, you kind of led into that, Jess, already. What are the hard things that you've done that have really proved to be really worth it?
Well, I think being a teen mom, I mean, everyone I knew, everyone in my whole family were like, there is just no way. Like, I was a wild child. So you need to give that kid up for adoption. That I heard that over and over and over and over. Like, you are going to ruin this kid's life. You are going to be the worst mom ever. You have no idea what you're doing, blah, 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 blah. And I made the decision. That was a choice. I could have given him up for adoption. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. And having some kid come look for me when he's 18 and ask me why the heck I gave him up for adoption. So I think that was the hardest thing that I did in my life. And I tell Jonathan all the time, like, he saved my life, because I do not think I was going in one direction, and that changed everything for me.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I think that's it. And then the second thing I would say is being an adult learner, going back to school after so many years of being out of school. That was very, very difficult. Now, once I did my bachelor's, I went straight into doing my master's, and I would say that was a lot easier because I had just learned how to be a student and study. And but guess what? All the things that I had done over the years, the structure and the good habits and all those things, that the hard things made that a lot easier for me than I think a lot of other people.
Mhm. That's where I went with this too, is that I feel one of a hard thing that I did is go back, and we had a tuition reimbursement program at our work, and I was like, that's just money on the table. I really should use this. My mind first went to, I should get my MBA. And without even thinking much about it, I signed up and enrolled, not really understanding what I was fully getting into. Going back to school as an adult, a wife and a mom, and then trying to have any semblance of any kind of life outside of that is extremely difficult. And I don't think I would have finished if it wasn't for my husband. I literally tried to quit like 4 times. I remember just going through.
I can't imagine, Cor. Like,
Yeah. It was like, I remember I was sitting in my accounting, right? And it's not like extremely difficult, but it's just a lot of busy work. It's a lot of like math problems that if you get the part at the top wrong, none of the answers are right, and they don't tell you where you went wrong because it's all online. So it was like exceptionally difficult. Problems took forever. There were a lot of problems. And I remember one night I was sitting there, and it's 11:45, almost midnight, and my husband's like, you coming to bed? I'm like, I'm not coming to bed ever. Like, just totally imploding. And I'm like, why am I doing this? I just think I should quit. And my husband's like, sit down, take a deep breath. Here's a coffee. And he's like, you're not a quitter. You will not forgive yourself if you quit now. Like, so just take a deep breath. You can do this. And so probably 3 times I had that same conversation with him, but doing those hard things. And when it was done, I got to walk down with my cap and gown, take a picture, and like have so it was definitely, all of the effort was worth the reward at the end, but it was a very hard journey to get there.
Jamie, what do you got? Hardest thing you've done?
I was going to say, I'm just like so proud of both of you for doing getting your master's, both of you guys, because I went through 2 years of college and then started working. So I can't even relate. I'm so proud of you guys. I just think when you do the hard thing, it sucks, right? The whole time it sucks. And then at the end, you are able to say, I did that. So it's hard to see the result when you're on the climb
Mm-hmm.
per se. But man, when you get up there and like both of you, Core, Jess, like you have that degree, like to say to everyone in your life, your kids, your parents, whatever, I did this and I achieved this and I have this to show for it, should be the best. Like,
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I'm proud of you. You should be proud of yourselves.
Thank
for
you.
it. Yeah.
And I said I would never do it, but something else, and I think all 3 of us have this in common, just starting careers all over again in a completely different industry. That is hard. That
Mm-hmm.
is scary. Like, I look at what you do, Jamie, I'm like, there's no way. There's just absolutely no way. I couldn't do it. I wouldn't do it.
I have a whole 3-page notes on our next episode about that. But it's like we get to a certain point in our life where we think we can't start over. But we can. We can. We can start over with our career. We can start over with our family. We can start over with our marriage. I love the idea of starting over. This was my favorite thing. Can I wear this at age 50? You know what I mean? Like, we can start over.
Uh-huh. And it isn't, and starting over isn't necessarily the easy street or the easy way, because it's taking the things that you have and it's multiplying them in a way that you've probably haven't multiplied them before, or using resources that you have that in ways that you haven't. And it's also being vulnerable and putting yourself out there and learning new things, and all of those things are stretching your mind and even just like your physical body in ways that you probably haven't been stretched for a while, right? I think that is a good segue into a point too, is that it just, comfort is quietly keeping us stuck. And I don't think we talk about this enough, that comfort, like when we're really comfortable, it feels good and we feel homey, we feel comfortable, but when we're comfortable, it's really limiting, right? That we can't grow and be comfortable at the same time. They can't coexist. And I think, Jamie, that's where like you were at. Like I feel like before you had this role, and like you were comfortable in a good way, but you're not satisfied in that, right?
Yep, no, totally. It was like I got to the point of being at the top of the game, right? And where else am I going to go? I can't go any further in this position. And getting recruited and starting this new career, it's like, oh my gosh, there are so many places I can go here. And I think that sometimes you're in a role where you're like, I'm awesome at this role. I'm completely comfortable at this role. But where are you going to go next? Right? Jessica, didn't we talk about this? Where am I going to go? Where am I going to go? Where am I going to go?
Well, it's thinking about too, because I do think about this a lot, because I talk to a lot of people that are comfortable, and just thinking about the word, right? Comfort. That's not a bad word. And so I think that's why people are like, and I hear it all the time. It's like, I'm comfortable. We're creatures of habit, right? Our brains find it to be safe. And anything outside of that says danger, danger. And I think we got to just start thinking about it a little differently. And I remember, I don't do this anymore, but years ago, and I don't know where I got this from, but every now and then I would just come home and rearrange my living room, rearrange my bedroom, rearrange. And what I found is that doing something like that would help me want to change other things. And I'm like, yeah, I want to put, and I don't know why I stopped doing it, but it used to help me all the time. And I would do that one little move stuff around in a room, and it used to start triggering wanting to do new things, which would bring upon change, which would move you out of your comfort zone. And this is so many years ago that I started, probably when I first got my first apartment, I used to do that all the time. And thank you for that reminder, because I should probably, now it will probably be a little more trouble to change rooms around, but I'm sure I can do something.
Well, I think when you're in a feeling stuck or maybe in a rut, that maybe the hard thing isn't surpassable right now, but what is something else that I can change or bring a new scenery or do something? So I think that tracks. I feel like you can't change the
But
big
don't
thing,
wait.
but then
Don't wait for it to get in a rut. Just do it.
right. Yeah.
Just to get yourself used to change. I think that's what happens, is that because we are such creatures of habit, we stay everything the same. We have our routines. And then the moment something happens, we just freak out. So maybe if we created these small changes, that our brain would get a little more used to it, and it wouldn't be so impactful, because it's inevitable. Something's going to happen. It's going to come.
Yeah, it makes me think of, I mean, I guess like comfort doesn't always equal peace enjoy, like it could be disguised as something else in there where you think like everything's in order because you like this piece of my life is bringing me joy when everything else is happening in the background where we're missing the big thing. The third point that I want to make is that hard things also can expand our capacity and our confidence. So there was a saying like back in the day that you don't become confident and then do hard things. You have to do the hard thing first and then you become confident after that. Talk to me about that.
Coralyn, did you listen to my Toastmaster speech last Thursday?
I did not, but I would love to.
Yeah, I'll send it to you. I didn't record it, but it was on confidence. And one of the things that I pointed out is that sometimes instead of waiting for our mind to go somewhere and then build the confidence, you have to walk in the confidence and let your brain catch up. Some say fake it till you make it. That might be another way of, but that's what's happening. And so, the whole talk was about we can't sit around and wait for confidence. We have to do the thing, and the confidence sometimes comes after. It's just the small little brave wins that really help you build up the confidence that you need.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like anybody that we know in places of power or women that you look up to, they didn't get there by being comfortable or sitting on the sideline. It's because they walked through the exceptionally hard thing, the difficult task. They pushed themselves to another level and then they made it, or then they did the thing, or then they got noticed. But it's like if you sit on the sideline and we're not like hopping in, then you're not there. You miss it.
I love the small brave wins. I love that. I feel like that should be made into our next t-shirt. Small brave.
Jamie's a t-shirt making fool.
I know.
We've made like 500 t-shirts.
I know.
I need to see
Jamie
one of
gets
those.
inspired and then we get a new t-shirt.
Right.
But I love that. Like it's sometimes it is just the small verbs, the small like like whatever, the small phrase that could be inspired into us making like a brave move, right?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Well, I think sometimes too with that, Jamie, is that sometimes the life that you think that you want, it requires you to show up in a version of yourself that you don't even know exists. And you only find that person by doing the hard thing, right? Like you didn't even know that you could be that brave, or you didn't even know you could do that thing until you actually stepped into it. I mean, for our listeners that listened to our last episode, we just had, if you haven't, you should go back and listen to it, but we just had
Jen,
a really fantastic woman, Jen, who is climbed Mount Kilimanjaro, and remarkable story. But her whole story is marked with, I didn't know that I could do that. I wanted to do it, but don't want to do the spoiler alert, but you should listen and see if she made it.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. No, I think I agree, Coralyn. I think like you take those small goals and you can transform them into something so huge within yourself. Like, right? So just like Jen said, like she's like, I just wanted to climb this mountain. I didn't even know, like I didn't know what I was getting myself into. And I think that sometimes that's how we are. That's how we complete a goal, is like you don't even really know that you have it in your head. You just go, I think I could do that. And then you jump in and you've got one other female, you guys, right? That says to you, you can do it. And you just complete something that you never thought you could. And never even never thought you could, never had the courage to do whatever. But if someone else is in there and they're like, oh yeah, you can totally do this.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. No, it's, for me, it's being brave. It's being courageous. I think about, ultimately just being on a stage and looking out and seeing thousands of people, and it's scary. I already know it's scary, right? But the thought of it still gets me so excited to think about it. And I always go back to that first greeting. I'll never forget, like, the first time that I had to perform, right? That first closing, that first tour, that first
right there with
time
you.
of saying it. And I was just like so scared, so nervous. What, like, out of that 1-page script, I think I probably said like a paragraph total. As much as I practiced and as much as I knew. And every time I tried, it got easier and easier and easier.
Mm-hmm.
But it was always just building the confidence in myself to know that every time I did it, it would become easier and easier. And I also knew that there was something natural in me, but there'll never be a time. I know people sometimes say, "Well, it's easy for you." No, every single time. It doesn't matter if it's 5 people or 100 people, or if it's on Zoom. I'm always going to be nervous. I'm human. Being nervous just means it's important to me. And
Mm-hmm.
so even to this day, like I said, it is just those brave moments and knowing that you know you can do something. Your confidence is, no, I believe in myself. And that's really half the battle for me.
Mm-hmm. What about those times when it's not something that's self-inflicted, maybe? The times where you just get thrown into something and you have to make the decision to show up and be brave. How do you handle that situation?
So again, I'm a little special type of crazy. I welcome those opportunities. And every time I'm presented with that type of opportunity, I look at it as a challenge and I get excited about it and I want to compete. Now I'm competing with myself. Let me be clear. There's no competition, like real competition here. But it's, I think I shared with you guys, I'm on the beach, the pastor calls and it's like, "Hey, I need someone to cover teaching this class and I'm going to be gone, for a while." And I'm like, "Okay." I didn't even think twice about it. And Mr. Smith's like, "Well, so how much time do we have to prepare?" And he's like, and this was on, I think, Thursday, maybe Wednesday. And he's like, "Starting on Sunday." And when he said that, I mean, again, special type of crazy, the adrenaline just like, I was like, "Okay, bet." And I was looking at me like, "What is wrong with you?" And he's like, "That's like no time to prepare." And I just had this whole conversation with myself of like, and it was great. And it ended up being great. And everybody had great feedback. And it wasn't just that I was doing it, it was that I did it with no notice and that we just had to jump in. And I
Yeah.
think those little opportunities I'm thankful for because that's how life works. Shit
Mm-hmm.
happens.
Yeah. I remember when I was pregnant. So actually at this moment in my life, I was not pregnant. I had just had a baby. Grayson blessed us a month early, right? And without getting in all the details, when he was born, he wasn't breathing right. And so I had just given birth. We had to go to the big hospital, which was maybe an hour and a half away. And so the ambulance came, they got him breathing, and then they had to take him to Rochester, which was like an hour and a half away. And so my husband and my mom decided they were going to go and be at the hospital. And I'm supposed to stay at the hospital in our town and just recover, and that I would decide what I was going to do later. Well, so then everybody left to go to go and they wanted to give me some rest, and I was sitting in my hospital room.
Oh my gosh,
for about,
Coralyn, I have never heard this story.
really?
I'm gonna cry
Oh,
right now.
Don't cry.
Okay.
But while I was sitting in the
He
hospital
lived.
room oh yeah, he lived. He's alive. But I was sitting in the hospital room by myself for about 5 minutes, and I just thought, I just can't, like, there's just something in me that I can't stay here. I have to go. And so I had a baby like 3 hours ago, and I call my mother-in-law who had just wanted to leave me so I could rest. And I told her, I'm like, I gotta go. And she's like, oh, honey. And I'm like, I got to, I have to. And she's like, okay, well, I'm coming back. So anyways, long story short, I talked to the nurses and they're like, well, you have to sign these papers. And they're like, how do you feel? I'm like, I'm fine. Like I didn't have an epidural. I was like, let's go. So I packed up all of my things and we had a car at the hospital and I got in the car and I drove myself home. Mind you, our baby shower was like the day before. And so our whole vehicle was packed full of presents. So I called my neighbor and I was like, can you meet me back at our house? I got to go to the hospital, told him the story. And so our neighbor met and we got the car unpacked. And I ended up driving with my mother-in-law drove me, but we ended up driving to the hospital. And I just, and then I got there. And the great thing is by the time I got there, they had gotten our little guy stabilized. And the blessing is that I got to start nursing him like right away. And had I left, it would have been a different situation, but and then that like helped him get better. And he was like on the road to like doing all those great things. But I don't know, like it's just one of those things. And all that to say is that sometimes like when we talk about being thrown into hard things, like you don't know what you're going to do, but you know in your soul what the right decision is, even though like it seems almost impossible. And then it wasn't until like a couple days later that I actually realized like, oh my, like when everything kind of calmed down, baby's fine, mom's fine, like all the things are good. Like you sit back and you're like, holy buckets. We just did that. We did that. And I think that there's so many times in our life that we show up in that way where you can sit back and just say like, I did the hard thing.
Right.
And it's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jamie, stop crying.
And in fact, I'm glad that I did the hard thing.
This is a new one.
Jamie's hilarious.
Okay, so I'm just crying.
It's kind of
a landmark. Jamie, we've never heard this. This is a new story.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I never heard the story either. Don't worry, Jamie. But it takes me a little longer to get to tears. Jamie's a crier.
I'm not even a crier.
You're not even a crier. No, but it's all good. I wouldn't tell you the sad story if it didn't end well.
Right.
But the point is that we're just trying, like sometimes like there are hard things that get put into your life that you don't have a plan. There was no manual, there was no rule book, and nobody knew what to do. But I just felt like I just had to do the thing. Right. And then as moms, as wives, as leaders, we all show up that way, right?
Yeah.
We have to do the hard thing. Okay.
Yep.
So on that
Embrace
note,
the
Jamie's
hardness.
crying. What are your takeaways? And what are we leaving our listeners with on this? I didn't know that this was going to be.
My takeaway is just that even though sometimes I complain about my hard life, and every time I turn around, there's another mountain to climb, but I am grateful for all of the mountains, because without those mountains, I would not be who I am today. I would not have the strength and the faith and the grit that I have today. So embrace it and don't run from it. Just it is what it is. And sometimes you want to run towards it.
Yeah. Jamie?
Let me stop crying for a second. My takeaway really is I cannot believe how lucky I am to have girls like you, women like you in my life that have went through so many hard things, but have persevered and become amazing, super awesome leaders and amazing friends. So I'm sorry. I'm still crying.
Does this sound crazy? I just thought of something. Tell me if this sounds crazy. It just hit me right now. And maybe we may not even have time for this, but I mean, if we happen to be in the same room and have an hour to spare when we come down to celebrate you getting married, maybe we should do an episode where we're all in the same room.
Oh,
yeah. And it's definitely a Jamie wedding celebration episode. So just a thought, it just came to me in that moment. So something to think about.
Stay tuned, listeners.
I
Stay
love that.
tuned.
I think both of you, like, you've been through a lot of hard stuff. We've all three been through a lot of
Yeah. I was like, don't exclude yourself, Missy.
stuff. But I love how successful you two are. And I'm still crying about Coralyn's story.
You're the best.
I know. Oh my God.
Listen, I'm gonna wrap us up before Jamie just completely loses all of her mascara. You know what? And I think at the
You're
end
right.
of the day, we are always trading something for something. Easy now sometimes equals harder later, or hard now often creates freedom and joy and happiness later on. So we're trading. As we think about our takeaways, is that maybe the goal isn't to make life easier. Maybe it's really just becoming the kind of woman, the kind of person that can handle hard things, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
with that, yes. So if any part of this episode resonated with you, please like, share, subscribe. We're on all social media. Anywhere where you can find a podcast, we are there. We are also at leadlikeagirllab.com. And we love to see our swag out and about. So snap a picture, buy some swag, send it to us. And with that, do hard things, and we'll see you next week.